Thank you, Renu, and welcome everyone. I think this is the second last or third last session of the day of PILF 2025, and what an interesting session it's going to be. Are there any aspiring writers here or writers here? Okay, great. So you'll all, oh, wonderful. So you'll all want to hear this session. So before I begin, I want to just explain how I met Chandler Crawford, okay? That's very important. I've been wanting to go, so earlier my agent was Fran Collins in the US, and unfortunately she passed away. And since then I was looking for another agent. But after that many years, I wanted to go to Frankfurt Book Fair, and I wasn't sure whether it would be a good idea. You know, it's mostly a B2B thing, commercial event. I wasn't sure if I should go there. Finally, I mustered up all my courage, and my sister and I, we went to Frankfurt. And who should I meet but Chandler Crawford? And before I went, I told the universe, you know, that I hope I find my future agent here. And the moment I met her and the moment she met me, she said, please don't sign up with anybody else. I want you.
I did?
Don't forget.
I forgot.
You're not supposed to forget that. But anyway, so the point is that she's now my agent, and we hope to work together for a long time. And the first step is inviting her to PILF, because I wanted her to be here and to let the whole, you know, writing community, you know, to help them understand what do literary agents actually do, and why are they useful to us, and how can we get Indian books published abroad, okay? But first, Chandler, I want to understand, what's your journey, and how did you begin? You know, I believe that you were a scout for Fran. Oh, by the way, this is another coincidence. She happened to be a scout for my old agent, Fran, who passed away, and I felt it was almost like Fran led me to her, you know, literally. So tell me a bit about your journey and how you came into this.
Okay, I don't think we have enough time to talk about what a scout did with an agent like Fran to do it, so we'll do that. So my entire career has been involved in international publishing, and when I started my own agency, what I only did for the first 15 years was represent books that other American agents represented. And authors get agents because they'll get more money with an agent than if they go themselves to a publisher. And many publishers all around the world, India is not one of them, will not take a submission from an author. So oftentimes the only way to get through the door is with an agent. And it's also that an agent is so that the author doesn't have to have a fight with the editor about how much they're being paid. That's what the agent's job is. So then the author and editor can have the relationship that's necessary to do the editorial work. Is that enough?
Okay, so now, well, that leads me to the next question, which is, what exactly do literary agents do?
Besides read.
Yeah.
Okay. So clearly there's a lot of reading, and then once an agent decides to represent an author, then there has to be a representation agreement. And then I would say until the author's book is sold, then the agent's job is to be the author's therapist.
Okay.
Why the author moans that their book's not sold. And I have not sold Manjiri's book yet. And that is entirely my fault because I haven't sent it to the right editors. But I told Manjiri this morning that I flew through Zurich and I went into the bookstore and was looking at the English language publishers' books. And all of a sudden I had these, what are those? You're the word person. You know.
Yeah, a eureka moment.
Yes, and I thought, that's who I need to sell your book to in England. And then I went to the German section, and then my list got longer and longer and longer, so that after an agent reads the book, then the agent has to decide which editors to send the book to. And the agent knows that because throughout their careers, the agent gets to know editors. And I'm very fortunate to have gotten to know editors from around the world, and I sold on behalf of the U.S. agent Mary Evans. When I was just selling translation rights, I sold books by Shashi Tharoor and Abraham Verghese in other countries, in Scandinavia, in Italy, in Tel Aviv, I think, and some weird places too. Oh, sorry. And and then now what I do mostly is I represent authors from 32 countries. And it's very exciting, and often the authors will send in 2 sample chapters, and then a description of the book. And usually I say no thanks. But if those 2 chapters are really exciting, then I hire, at my own expense, the book to be translated. And I've done that several times. I did it with a Japanese book that's now, it's called The Courage to Be Disliked, and the second book, The Courage to Be Happy, and now it is a worldwide crazy sensation. And I think also the agents read it and think, yes, this is good, this feels good, and it's really, there's no scientific thing for any scientists who are here. It's really just a gut instinct. And I think that's crap, I'm not gonna take it. Or, yes ma'am. And then I sold that Japanese book in 30 countries, and it is a bestseller in every single one of them.
Wonderful. But I've heard that, I know that finding an international agent is more difficult than finding a publisher. Because there are so many rejections from the agents themselves that the road to the publishers is a long way away. Why is it that there are so many rejections? Apart from the gut feeling.
I was going to say because agents can't afford to take on books that they don't believe in 1,000%. Because, like, if I took on a mystery writer right now, which I won't do until I sell your books, then I will not be paying attention to the current authors that I am representing in that genre.
So rejections happen because you've already got somebody in that genre and you need to sell that person first, and then you can take on more.
Or you don't like the book.
Or you don't like the book.
Right.
That's true. Okay, so obviously everybody says that having a literary agent is far more beneficial than doing the whole finding publisher thing yourself. But what are the real advantages? How do you actually look at the contract? What do you do? What is your process like?
Yes, so let's say the agent is lucky enough to like something, the author and the agent agree, and the author sells it, and then the agent and the editor and the author all have lunch if they're in the same place at the same time. And if they're not, in New York or London, then they'll get together the Frankfurt Book Fair with the American agent, the Norwegian publisher, the Norwegian author and the Brazilian publisher, which happened with me. And then for translation agreements, not with publishers from Canada, Australia or New Zealand or England, because those contracts all come from the publishers, but the agent will have a publishing attorney look through it, but I do all the contracts for everything else.
Well, what are agents really looking for in the world? That's what most people would like to know. What can they submit that would be accepted? What sells in the world right now?
You know that I hate that question because I've been saying my whole life, and I used to think it was so clever when I was younger. I don't think it's clever anymore. I just think it's sad, is that I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't know what publishers are going to like. Are they going to like a book like Name of the Rose this year? or are they going to like Harry Potter? Like, I don't know, nor do they. That's why it's so hard to be an author.
I agree. This whole, the uncertainty of the whole thing and unpredictability of getting a book offer and getting a book published and then of course not making any money on it. It's a very daunting journey and
It's very daunting, but I should also say another thing the agent does is, overview the contract, and then as publication day comes closer, then the agent will talk to the publisher, the editor, the marketing person, the publicity person, and they'll have a meeting, and often the author is not invited. It's just among those most important people in the publishing house and the agent is there to make sure that they do everything plus for the author.
saying, okay, yeah, exactly. The agent represents the publisher. Earlier we were talking about, since we were talking about money and we were talking about a lot of things, and you were telling me what a bestseller, international bestseller means, and I would like you to tell the audience what really means an international bestseller, being an international bestseller book.
Well, it does mean that a book is sold in a lot of countries, and I was lucky enough to represent the translation rights of Khaled Hosseini for 20 years. And of his 3 books in 20 years, he was sold in, I sold him to 62 publishers, and so 62 publishers plus the English language publishers, he sold 55 million copies, and that's from Albania to Kazakhstan to South Korea to China to Brazil to Germany to Italy, and it means that an author continues to sell year after year after year after year after year after year all over the world. And when The Kite Runner was coming out in paperback in the U.S., it came out in paperback in many other translated markets. And the Dutch publisher sent me a picture of a dozen or so Dutch women, all with their paperback copies of the Dutch edition of The Kite Runner. And she would do that every week for the entire summer. Different people, and I never knew if she corralled them to do it or not, but it was funny.
Which means the book is found in every corner of every country, approximately. So how much money are we talking about? Just a broad figure for people to understand. For an international bestseller, what is the amount that one looks at?
Well, the amount for somebody like Hosseini is not something I'm going to tell you.
No, obviously.
But I think we can also imagine that, Nicholas Spark, a more commercial a book, maybe a mystery writer or thriller like Karen Slaughter, things, they might make more. I don't know, because we don't talk money with other agents.
Okay.
So I don't know.
No ballpark figure, no imaginary figure that, Indian authors can aspire for?
No.
Oh, no. So sorry about that. Any Indian books that have kind of garnered that kind of attention?
Oh, absolutely. Abraham Verghese did very well with Cutting for Stone, and I was lucky enough to sell that in several territories. And now his book,
Something in Goa.
no, in the water. No, Something in the Water. Sorry, it's not my book. And it's a huge bestseller all over the world, starting with the U.S. and being an Oprah pick, and then those kinds of things, because foreign publishers pay attention to Oprah, they pay attention to the New York Times Book Review, they pay attention to the London Times, and social media, and I know that Abraham Verghese's book is going to be a huge bestseller for a long time because Oprah, on the last Oprah show with the author, said to him, I did what I've never done before in an Oprah book, and I bought the movie rights to your book. And this is when the writer's strike was in Hollywood, and she said, and as soon as the strike's over, they will start writing the screenplay to your book. So I think that's a kind of a thing.
Any advice that you can give to Indian authors who are trying to find a break in the international market? Any advice from your side?
I think that you need to do some homework on literary agents, and to do that you can look at your favorite books, and in the acknowledgments, they often, I would say probably 80%, maybe 90%, thank their editor and their agent, and so they'll usually thank them in tandem. So you will need to, find out the name of the editor, name of the agent, and then think about submitting your material to an agent that you like, whose works you like, and be hopeful.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I wish there was
No,
more I could say
there
than be
are more-
hopeful.
I'm sure there'll be more questions coming from the audience. So I'm going to stop here and let's open it to the audience. Somebody has a mic here.
That guy in the green.
Yeah, that one there. Yeah. So keep your questions short so that more people can ask. Yeah, they're behind. Okay.
If an author has written a book and he wants to get it published through you, through the agent, what is the chances of the book getting published?
If an author submits a book to you for publishing, what are the chances of you accepting the book and a publisher accepting that book?
Let's roll the dice. I don't know.
She doesn't know. There are no guarantees in this field. That's the reason why.
And there's guarantees in other fields?
Yeah.
I don't think so. It's more painful in this field.
Yeah.
It's more personal.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi. Oh yeah, I'm Manit. So maybe after listening to you, 20 odd authors will send you a script. And what is that first thing that you look in a script that makes it stand out for you?
Hold the mic close.
Closer?
Yeah.
Or maybe not now, if there was any script that, the first time that you saw it, you were like, wow, this is definitely going to work.
Yes, the first page has to be killer. It has to be different. It has to be engaging. That's another thing, you have to do your homework. And there are dictionaries about literary agents that say what those agents are look for and what they want in a submission, and you can do that. So you don't send somebody who does literary fiction a serial killer novel, for instance. And I know that sounds silly, but it happens all the time. And that's sad. And I really believe this is a non-scientific gut thing, is that I think the best books that I have ever read and that I have ever been lucky enough to work with the authors and to sell them around the planet and become gigantic bestsellers, you're talking hundreds of millions of copies all over the planet, are books that are written from somebody's heart. And that could be a mystery. That could be a nonfiction book about Alzheimer's. That could be The Kite Runner. I think it's a book where the author has let go of their ego and is writing the book because they are born to write that book. I hope that didn't sound too hokey, but I really believe that, and I know a lot of other agents do too.
Who's next?
This guy in front.
Yeah, okay, the one in yellow.
Hi. Thank you for sharing your perspective and insights. would you and normally international publishers or literary agents be interested in representing underrepresented communities or, people who are displaced from their homeland? Would you be interested in such stories, since you mentioned stories from the heart?
Well, I do, and many other agents do. Many agents represent, certainly many agents took on Palestinian authors when the war started. And so that's done, and a lot of American agents are taking on undocumented workers in America, and they're submitting their manuscripts under a pseudonym because they believe in the manuscript. They know they can't publish it with the author's real name, but they feel it's a necessity to get the stories, which are about how horrible it is to be a documented worker in America these days. So yes, it happens, and so there are many agents who do only romance novels, and romance of a certain kind, or mysteries of a certain kind, or just nonfiction, or political nonfiction. And then I foolishly just say, whatever, and it seemed to work. Except when it hasn't, but I'm not going to tell you about those.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who else? Just pass.
That guy and then this guy in the front row.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Bipin here. My question is, have you come across manuscripts which were really appealing to you, brilliant, excellent quality, the first page was absolutely amazing, but still somewhere deep inside your mind, in your gut, you felt that this is not something that the publishers in the world are looking for, and I really cannot do justice to it, and you did not promote it further?
It's such a good question, and the answer, I suspect, will surprise you, because I did represent a book, and I did feel that, but it just, the there wasn't there. And so in those instances, again, on my own dime, though many agents send it to AI, I send it to an outside editor that I've worked with for a long time and ask them to please edit it, because I know that this book is something, but I know I'm not the person to edit it to make it get to that level that it can be sold. And so this particular book, a friend edited it. It cost me a couple $100, and then I sold it in about 8 or 10 countries.
Wow.
It's not a ginormous international bestseller, but the authors are happy.
Great.
I have two questions. First question is, in India we have a norm that a bestseller is that novel which is found, which pirated copies are found in the streets or in the grey market. How is the condition in Western countries?
So normally we kind of make fun of this, that if your novel is only a bestseller if pirated copies are available in India on the pavements. We make fun of it. Does this situation also happen, in the US? So
It does not happen in the U.S., but it does happen in a lot of countries.
And are any publishers involved in such kind of a trade? That do they bring out copies in a grey market?
I think I'm too naive to know the truth of that.
probably this is not the platform for you to tell us.
But I don't know.
No, you don't know. Okay. Okay, who's next?
Okay. Hello. I have a question, a two-part question. Which is your favorite genre as a reader, and which is your favorite genre as an agent?
They're the same.
Are they? And which one is it?
I like literary fiction.
Okay, thanks.
But I also like commercial fiction. I like a good mystery.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
That's a rejoinder.
Sorry.
Yeah, the lights are too bright. But or I could put on my sunglasses. There you go. Okay, I could be like a Hollywood agent. No, I'm being a Hollywood agent with my sunglasses. Okay, go ahead.
So concerning literary fiction in this day and age of sensitivity readers, what is there a lot of scope for literary satire, especially satire that might be controversial or that might ruffle a lot of feathers? Or
Yes, and I think there's been a lot of it published in the last couple of years. And of course, you want me to tell you what books they are, but I got off the airplane this morning, so I have no clue the name of those books. But, I bet if you, go on the internet and ask that question, they'll probably tell you a couple. And certainly in the U.S., under Donald Trump, there are many, many, many. And many coming. Oh, and I just want to say one thing, that there is a website, that's what we call it, right? Called Litarary Hub, and it's free, and it's run by Grove Atlantic Publishers in New York, and it is a really amazing compendium of what's going on not just in America, but all around the world, in publishing, books that are being sold, crises, scandals, really wonderful stories of agents and editors and authors doing something great. And they print it online Monday through Friday. It's free. I highly recommend it. It's fun. Because you need more time on the screen.
In your vast experience, ma'am, what was the percentage of rejection by the publishers, and what were the reasons cited?
What?
Can you repeat that again?
What was the percentage of rejection by the publisher, and what was the reasons cited by the publisher?
Oh, that is not something that I ever have paid attention to, because that would just lead me to drinking or eating so much chocolate that I couldn't walk up the stairs, even if somebody could help me. Usually the reason publishers give, or the same that agents give, that they don't believe there's a market, they don't think they know how to, sometimes this is the easy out. They say, I don't think my marketing team knows how to promote this book. And I think that's what they do when they're just being scared.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Nishraya. I have two questions. First is, you as an agent, if an author, with the increase of AI, do you recognize if someone is using AI in their manuscripts, or is it like not recognizable?
Well, because I don't read a manuscript until I have some relationship with the author, either by phone or Zoom, because I represent a lot of authors in a lot of different countries. And so there has to be a level of trust. And so the books I represent are all real, not AI. But I know many agents, mostly in New York City, who have gotten burned by accepting manuscripts that then somehow they were sold, and then somehow the publisher found out that it was AI. So I do suspect it will be happening more and more, but I think, or maybe I'm being naive again, that the kinds of books I do and like kind of the weirdness of the books that I do, because it wasn't that easy to answer your question, because the books are pretty vast. Like, I don't think it's going to happen to me.
And my second question is that is it important for authors to get their rights for their manuscripts before they send it to the agent or the publisher?
No, it doesn't work like that because you as an author have the rights until a publisher buys them from you. So, and then to answer an earlier question, what does an agent do? So let's say you write the most magnificent book and I sell it for the most amazing amount of money. And then, what's the last part of this question? Now I can't remember where I was going. I was really into it for a moment.
Can you repeat your question again?
Is it important for authors to get their scripts
Oh, right.
registered? Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, so so that what an agent does is then when I sell a book and then I negotiate with the publisher, publisher A offers $25,000. And then I go back to all the other publishers who are in the auction and say, you have to go above $25,000. And then we have a little party having an auction. And then I would say, and then I would have to tell the author exactly how the auction went. And then it's the agent's job to get the best deal for the author. If the author wants to keep translation rights, then the agent won't sell those to the publisher. And I always recommend authors to keep translation rights because authors make more money if they have their agent selling it rather than having the publisher sell it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay.
Well, I have a question before that. Has it ever happened to you that you found a fabulous offer according to you and the author hasn't liked it or hasn't liked it enough and you're disappointed in the author, you know?
That has happened way, way, way too many times.
Oh, okay.
Because it's so hard to sell a book anywhere, you know, it could be Kazakhstan, and then the author says, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then, and when that's happened, and not a lot, maybe a handful of times, and then I tell the author that we have to have a happy divorce because there's not a sense of trust. And I'm always honest with the author, and I say to many authors, after some time, if I haven't sold your book by the time you think I should have sold it, then you should let me go, and I will help you find an agent that I think might be better for you.
Yeah. But have you ever blamed yourself for not? No, I'm going to ask this.
Of course.
Okay. I mean, do you feel, is there this sense of remorse when you can't sell a book? Or is it like a product for you that you tried and, well, I'm afraid I have to divorce you?
No, it's like you crying when one of your characters has to die.
Oh, that's sad.
Well, because it's such a intimate relationship, you know, that it's like they're my kids. I want them to have success, and I'm the one that's going to give them success.
Yeah, Vivek.
Hi, my name is Vivek, and I'm one book old. So I asked this question from that perspective. Beyond commercial success, a certain level of commercial success, what would publishers and agents look for in an author? Or what would really make that author come across as a good prospect for collaboration?
That would be up to the publisher because it could be they're looking for somebody who has a special appeal to a special market or can talk about their book in a way that the marketing people can't to help get it going. And that's happened quite a lot in many places all over the world. And the most obvious one I can think of is Jay McInerney's book, Bright Lights, Big City in the 80s in New York City. And I think that book was such a sensation is because his publisher Knopf just milked him for his story, how 80s it was, and they just knew what to say or the right thing at the right time.
Thank you.
Kind of like winning the lottery.
What is the percentage of authors winning the lottery, though?
Are you kidding me? You're asking me the horrible questions like that gentleman asked you this morning. That lady in the yellow, I think. Oh.
So if an author, when an author contacts an agent and there is a match, what type of questions the author should ask the agent?
What an excellent question. The author should absolutely ask the agent, because the most important part of an agent is to be fiduciarily responsible, to pay the author the appropriate amount of money in the appropriate time, and not to steal the author's money, which has happened way too many times, at least in the US. It's a very frightening thing. So I think authors need to look over the contract that the agent sends to the author, and the author should have perhaps their own lawyer or their own publishing lawyer look it over and make sure that the agent's contract protects the author's rights more than the agent's rights. And you just have to ask, when am I going to get paid? What happens if I don't get paid within this period? And also, what will you do if the publisher is in breach of contract? How are you going to protect me?
Anyone else? Okay, I think it's almost time up. Yeah. So I just want to thank Chandler. You know, she's just flown in from the US today. She's jet lagged and tired, but very kind of you to do the session, answer all our questions, and thank you, Chandler.
And thank you for having me. And can I tell them what I'm doing? Yeah. Okay, so this is my first Indian book fair of 2025, but it's certainly not my last, because I am planning to traverse the entire subcontinent between now and almost the end of February to go to see Jaipur and Kerala and Chennai and Amritsar, and also to visit Indian authors I represent in India. And I think that's very excellent, because I think India is the most exciting, interesting country ever. And so, yeah. And then I have this little dream that next year I might come here in the winters to live.
Oh, really? Yeah. Why not? Most welcome.
Because I can do my job with just a printer and a phone.
Wonderful. Okay. That's news to me.
Okay.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you, Chandler. And over to you, Renu.